All right, let's dive into a story that's pretty remarkable. It's about how two nations, born from a really bitter conflict, somehow managed to build a working partnership. This is the story of Pakistan and Bangladesh. So here's the big question, right? How did a relationship that started with so much hostility completely transform into a key regional partnership? It's a fascinating journey of diplomacy, sheer necessity, and, shared interests. Before we go back in time, let's just look at where things stand today. It's actually kind of surprising. They're both key members of SAARC, that's the South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation. They have each other's backs on the world stage, with Bangladesh even supporting Pakistan on the Kashmir issue. And on top of all that, their trade is just steadily growing. When you think about where they started, wow, this level of cooperation is pretty amazing. So how in the world did they get here? To really get it, we've got to go back to the beginning. And the beginning was, well, it was a really painful split. This wasn't some simple political disagreement. We're talking about a conflict that literally created a new country. The year to remember is 1971. In December, after a brutal civil war, what was then East Pakistan broke away to become the independent nation of Bangladesh. And, this was not a friendly parting of ways, not at all. It was a conflict that left some deep, deep scars on both sides. And the tension didn't just end when the war did. For 2 whole years, Pakistan refused to even officially recognize that Bangladesh existed. Can you imagine? The relationship was completely frozen, just hostility. But of course, that kind of diplomatic deep freeze can't last forever. Something's got to give. So the next part of our story is all about those first, very slow, very cautious steps that both nations took toward, well, just having a normal relationship. You can really see the gradual thaw on this timeline. Just 3 years after the conflict, you get this huge breakthrough in '74. Pakistan officially recognizes Bangladesh. A year later, they establish formal diplomatic relations. And by 1976, you're seeing practical things happening, like flights being restored. Step by step, a new relationship was being built. That big turning point, it all went down in February 1974 at a summit of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, the OIC, which was held in Lahore. So Pakistan is hosting, right? They want to project a sense of unity in the Muslim world, and they do that by formally recognizing Bangladesh. Then, in this hugely symbolic move, Bangladesh's leader, Sheikh Mujib Rahman, was invited to attend. Just like that, 2 years of diplomatic silence were over. A year later, a visit from Pakistan's leader, Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, really cemented those proper diplomatic relations. But look, just because they were talking didn't mean everything was suddenly perfect. There were still some really complex financial issues to sort out, like how to divide up all the assets from when they were one country. That remained a major point of contention for a while. So how did they move from just basic diplomacy to a real, modern partnership? Well, the next phase was all about building practical bridges through things like aid, trade, and even alliances. And this is where the relationship really started to deepen, beyond just politics. Pakistan provided critical humanitarian aid during these devastating floods in the '80s, which was a powerful gesture of goodwill. And then on the economic front, they signed their first trade agreements back in 1979, laying the groundwork for a commercial partnership that's still growing today. And that trade is very much a two-way street. Bangladesh is exporting key goods like tea and jute to Pakistan, and in return, Pakistan is sending machinery, textiles, and sports equipment. This is the tangible, real-world result of all those early diplomatic efforts. This brings us right up to the modern relationship, which really rests on 4 key pillars. You've got their shared membership in SAARC, mutual support on the world stage, that growing bilateral trade, and increasing cultural exchange. It's become a truly multifaceted and mature partnership. I mean, the contrast between then and now is just dramatic. They've moved from hostility to a regional alliance, from having no diplomatic ties whatsoever to being key economic partners, and from this deep strain to mutual support. It's a remarkable transformation. This whole story really shows that despite starting with intense conflict, Pakistan and Bangladesh have successfully built a pragmatic partnership. It's a relationship driven not by a shared, painful past, but by shared interests in the present and for the future. Their journey is a powerful example of how pragmatism can overcome even the most painful history. It kind of leaves us with one final question. What will the next chapter in the story of Pakistan and Bangladesh look like?